Welcome to Black Writer Therapy, the podcast where Black women writers come to heal, share, and be their most unapologetic Black woman writer selves. I'm your host and unlicensed therapist, Ella Shawn, and I'm excited you decided to spend this hour with us. Whether you're joining for the first time or you're a returning listener, this is your space to explore the art of storytelling, find inspiration, and connect with a community of bold and brilliant Black women writers.
Shanique Yates is a tenacious, passionate, and dedicated creator and storyteller with 7+ years of experience highlighting popular Black culture that have impactful reach. She's written for many outlets including Afrotech, Sweet July, Blavity. Shanique has interviewed everyone from Mary J. Blige to Denzel Washington. Her colorful storytelling has led her to cover stories across the diaspora. The Virginia native continues to use her passion and gifts to share stories that inform, uplift, and inspire the culture. Ms. Yates, Ella will see you now.
Welcome to Black Writer Therapy Podcast. I am your host, Ella Shawn, and I am here with my guest, Ms. Shanique Yates. Welcome to the proverbial couch, Shanique. I am so excited that you decided to come on and give us this time. I found you on LinkedIn, and I was so impressed with your profile and just your post and the things that you talk about. And so I was like, you can only say yes or no. So shoot your shot, chick. So I'm so happy you said yes. And thank you for being so gracious and rescheduling when we did. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I open every session with this question because I know I never am asked this question, and I think it's important for us to start thinking about. So, Shanique, how are you healing today?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, I am healing today by putting myself first. Yeah, I'm the eldest daughter, and if you
Mm.
know anything about eldest daughters, they are the true backbones of their family. And so, I'm like kind of like restructuring my brain that it's
Mhm.
okay to put my needs and my priorities before everyone else's.
I love that. It's how I close every show. Be kindest to yourself first. I am not the eldest. I'm the baby. So no one had to
Oh,
teach me that. No one had to teach me that at all. But I love that for you. And I think that's such an important message. And are you kind of building that into your platform as well?
yes, I am. I'm actually like in a space right now in my career where I'm like fervently chasing the things that excite me. So what that means is I'm not just saying yes to just everything. I'm like really intentional about the stories I'm telling, the people I'm talking to, the topics that I'm writing about, both like professionally and then personally on my blog. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's new and some days are better than others. But you know, I'm always like I'm also really learning to give myself grace. So yeah.
Boy, I think you're way ahead of the bell curve here when we're talking about like being intentional and giving ourselves grace and pursuing what sets our soul on fire. That's the whole premise of this show. Yes, I love talking about books. Yes, I love talking about writing. Yes, I love celebrating Black women writers, but also healing is a process. And most people have this idea that once you say I'm on the healing trail, then you're healed. And that's not the case. Healing is a process. So I love the way you're healing. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So I've already shared your bio, and it'll will of course be linked into our show notes, but there were a few key pieces that I kind of wanted to just talk about because you are a journalist. And so I've had journalists on before, but they have also written like books. You're my first freelance journalist. Thank you for classing up my joint. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, again, thank you again for having me. And, I'm happy to be in this space because I hope that I can come back and have written a book. That's like really on my heart's desire a lot more lately. Um, so we'll have to
Yay.
like offline about that because I'm like, okay, like where did I do? Where did I start? But um, so when I was in the second grade, I had a beautiful teacher. Her name is Mrs. Joyce Simmons, and I think she has a birthday coming up. But we still keep in touch, right?
Oh,
I
I
come
love
from a
that.
very small town called Dinwiddie County, Virginia, and her and my grandmother were friends before I, was in her class. So I knew her. I was comfortable with her. And every morning we had journal prompts. And so every morning, like we would write in our journals, but she, during like a parent teacher conference, she told my parents, like, she's such a great writer. Her stories are so vivid. And she, like, really planted a seed in me that, like, I could be a writer, right? I didn't, to me, it was just second nature. I was just writing in my journal, but that really, like, planted the seed. And then in third grade, I was obsessed with Martin Luther King Jr. I was
Mm.
learning and memorizing his speeches. So I started doing oratorical contests where I wrote my own speeches and would compete. And so I did that in elementary school, middle school, as well as high school. And that really like built my confidence in speaking in front of people. But then I had a teacher in 11th, yeah, like 10th or 11th grade, Coach Walters. He was also the basketball coach. And I would come into class. I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I would come into class like Monday, that Monday after school, and I would give like a rundown on the game. And he was like, you should look into like sports reporting. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I started researching there. I like became infatuated with like women like Robin Roberts and
Uh-huh.
Carrie Champion, even like the Aaron Andrews of the world. And so I literally just I'm a Scorpio too, so I obsess over things. So I came and I was like, actually, this is a great career path. And I went to VCU, that's Virginia Commonwealth University in
Mhm.
Richmond, Virginia, and I studied broadcast journalism. I did broadcast because they told us print journalism was dying
Mhm.
and, magazines were going out of business and things like that. But yeah, like that really like started it. It's like it's so funny because like I feel like I I was destined to be a journalist because I've always, as a kid, I loved being in the know. I loved
Mhm.
reading, I loved watching television, I loved the Oprah show, and I just kind of like saw those things, but I never really thought about I could do that. And so having those teachers plant those seeds in me, like, is like it really helped me get where I am today. And yeah, just that love of being a very nosy or inquisitive child.
I love it. I love it. As a former high school English teacher and creative writing teacher, it does my heart well to know that you remember your teachers, and you reach out to them and they poured into you. It's so rewarding to be a teacher, to have a student that you pour into, and then they look you up somewhere and say, "Oh my God, had not it been for you, thank you so much." Right? I love that. So your teachers, like you said, you stay in touch with them. I know they're proud of you.
Yes, Mrs. Simmons and I, we didn't do it last year, but like once a year at least we do breakfast when I come home. Like her and her sister cook me breakfast and like I just sit around the table and talk to them and it's
Yes.
literally something I look forward to so much.
I love that. So you're getting all of this wisdom and you just keep soaking it all up and you know where to go and get it. And I think that's super duper important. So having that community, having those ties, amazing. And you're a Cowboys fan, you really can't go wrong, Shanique. I mean, really. We're not going to
Thank
talk about
you.
our last couple of seasons. We're just going
You
to be like,
know,
whatever,
it's a life of agony, but I'm gonna stick beside them.
duh. Because them boys. Anyway,
Yes.
let us not digress. Let us not digress. Your story is beautiful, and it's one that I think resonates with a lot of Black women writers. This kind of being poured into at an early age in school, at church, in the family. So, were you also poured into at home in that same
Yes.
way?
Yeah, so I feel like my parents were young when they had me, 21 and 19 to be exact. So just here comes this baby that just is so different, if you will, as my
Yes.
goddaddy tells it, you know, wanting to know everything. Deeply emotional. Like as a kid, I was very in touch with my emotions. So, and I don't think that that was like the norm for my family. I think they're still adapting to that. But like, um, I recall like we went to Disney World for the first time, right? It was like me, my cousins, my goddad, and my daddy. They split the driving, but like when we got there, there's this picture of me, and I'm like, why am I like crying? And my goddad was like, do you know you literally got out of the van, hugged all of the adults who drove, and was like, thank you so much for getting us here safely. And I was like 5 or 6. And so I don't think like my parents quite understood that. However, I do feel like I had the space to have a huge imagination. I really credit my mom for anything I wanted to do. She encouraged it, whether that was ballet classes or public speaking, talent shows. She was always there front and center to support me. And like often, like one time, this lady, bless her heart, she ran out of gas trying to get me my costume for a dance recital because I forgot it at home. And so like as an adult now, I like look back on that and I'm like, my parents aren't perfect at all by any means, but they did give me the space to dream big. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Wow, man. Okay, as a mom of three, like that's all we want to hear. I promise you, that is all we want to hear is that I know you're not perfect, but thank you for giving me space and giving me what you had. You mentioned that you were very emotionally intelligent. That's like my first big focus area, right? Because
Oh,
I
wow.
read that. I know, right? We're in tune. We
Yes.
are always simpatico. That's why I love this podcast. So I wrote down sensitivity and emotional intelligence as a child. Why do you think most creatives come here so self aware? Like, what is it?
Oh, I don't know. Oh my gosh, that just like gave me chills. I feel like when you're creating, you're sharing so many parts of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
um, that you have to like bear for the world to see, right?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I was always there as far as like, I feel like as a kid, I was emotionally intelligent. And then, I had adults be like, okay, don't stop that crying, or, you know,
Yeah.
you're a crybaby or this, that, and the third. And so I kind of like shunned that part of myself
Mm-hmm.
for a while or had shame around that part of myself. But then like college helped a lot and meeting my like core girlfriends in college really helped a lot because they like made me like express my feelings
Mm-hmm.
versus being passive and like holding them in. I felt safe there. But I think that creators have this innate self-awareness because I don't know, a lot of times I feel like it's not me. I feel like this is like I'm just a vessel, so I feel like
Mm.
God is simply using me to like carry out like this work, if you will. And
Yes.
so I have no choice but to put myself out there and like share those parts of me that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like my physical self is like, oh girl, what like, and I grew up in a house that was like what happens in the house or what happens in this family, you keep it at home. And so like it's like living a double life, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do think that it's like innate because it comes from my source. It comes from God. Like I don't really know how to make sense of things a lot of times until like later. And I hope that answers the question. But yeah, I think that it's like it's something that we have to have, it's a trait you have to possess because my hope is that when people read my work or see anything that I do, that it heals something in them. Like I'm always praying a prayer, like God, let people see your light shine through me. So I think like that is like that's just one of the things you have to do. You have to just be willing to like be this. "Yeah, here I
My gosh, I'm just like I'm trying to like contain it all, right? I have goose flesh everywhere. Like you're talking and I'm like, girl, because it is so perfect what you just said. And it's so true and genuine. I love what you just said because I think that that's it. Like you can't be a co-creator of reality if you're not open to receiving and being a conduit, not being the source, but being a resource for the source so that you're able to give and share. And you said my favorite word, heal. Because what else
yeah,
are we here for, right? If not to heal ourselves and help heal, why are we here? What are we doing?
yeah,
Right? I love that. And I love that you talked about this. You touched it and then you jumped off like it was a hot plate. I grew up in a family where if it happened here, it stays here. I grew up in a family, don't be a crybaby. Don't go around. Okay, yeah, my grandmother, this was her favorite phase. You ain't ever gonna go outside in your dirty drawers, is you? No. And you never gonna put them dirty drawers on the outside of your clothes, is you? No, ma'am. Then keep your business to yourself.
yeah,
And I could never understand why. But if something was happening that didn't sit right with me, somebody gonna know. I'm telling somebody, but that was
yeah,
not how I grew up. And you're right. It's being forced to kind of live a double life, insulate yourself, protect your family, follow the rules, shut down. And it's just like, I think that's so hard on little kids who come here knowing way more than they are perceived to need to know.
yeah,
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just want all of the little Black creative women to come together and share these because they're so similar. I
hmm,
do you when you speak with other Black women creatives, writers, singers, because you have run the gambit, Miss Thing. Like what the world? Do you find that you have these similar experiences in childhood?
yeah, absolutely. I definitely do. I feel like it's like I'm just like keep connecting with people who have like very similar backgrounds, you know? Like I feel like even in my friendships too, where it's like it's kind of like we just kind of like mesh together, but
Mm-hmm.
like especially as someone who like my like day to day or like my living is talking to people and learning
Mm-hmm.
their stories. And that's something that always comes up, you know, just that innate self awareness and really like coming from backgrounds where that was like shunned in a way,
Yep.
you know. I feel like at 32, I'm still peeling back layers of that. And
I'm sorry, because I can't play poker. I know you just saw my face completely change, didn't you?
yes,
And you already know why. Because I really am thinking, she is such a cute little girl.
you, yeah.
Thinking 24-ish, about the same age as my oldest daughter.
Yeah, no, I'm like I'm so grown. Every day it's like, whoa, I'm really a grown woman. Yeah, like this. But also I feel like too, it's like I was a very serious kid. Everything
Mm-hmm.
was serious to me. Because again, like having parents who were younger, I like felt like I was parenting them in a sense. So
Mm-hmm.
everything was serious. And then my siblings came and they were my children too. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like very like by the rule book, no time for play. I have to grind, 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 grind. But I feel like the older I get, the more childlike I am. Like I'm like doing so many things that like heal my inner child. And I think as a result of that, it's like I get to like it comes
A
out outwardly.
backwards.
Yeah, it comes out outwardly too because I'm just a big kid and I realize that like now I'm like freeing that kid. And so
Oh,
like if you ask my friends, I'm like, I love like just fun things, things that would make like kids squeal or things like that. And like even the kids in my family, like I have a little cousin. While I was at home for the holidays, she asked me, she was like, "Are you a real adult?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Because like I like play with them, right? I like
yeah.
am playing doll babies or like all the things. So I realized that in her little mind, she's like, is she one of us? But she doesn't look like
Now, are you a real adult? No, don't ever become an adult. It's a trap.
Okay,
Yeah, I love that. You're gorgeous and beautiful, but you
thank
do
you
look
so
about
much.
20 something, in all honesty. So, whatever you're doing, keep doing that, right?
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we moving now? Because, like, literally, I can just talk and talk and talk and get off track. Um, we talked about how you were encouraged, and that is a gift, right? The gift of being acknowledged, of being seen early in your life, being heard early in your life. How has that, because you spoke, okay, you spoke briefly, and I think, where are we? Yeah, you spoke about like in one of your pieces, and I love that how you address yourself in your
Yeah,
Substack. I was like,
yeah,
oh my God, I love that for you. And where am I? We have survived a lot.
yes.
I just want you
Oh
to
my
know how
gosh.
powerful that is. Just like I copied that line because I don't know that we give ourselves credit. And I love that you said we have survived a lot. How has being seen and being heard and being acknowledged early in your life, how has that played a role in what you, ubiquitously you, right, have survived, have come through, are coming?
Yeah, I think that it just has been like putting confidence in me, really, like just like little by little. Especially like I know I like am gonna say this a lot, but like really having teachers who saw me and who
Mm-hmm.
like took the time to like acknowledge me or acknowledge my gifts. I think like that allowed me to find myself and have like the confidence to say like no, like I want to do this, or it like gave me like just that kind of muscle or that kind of, I don't know what it is, to just be more confident in my household and be like, okay, like no, this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
um you know, because again, like coming from a small town, having big dreams, I realized early on sharing those dreams, people would innately say things like, "Are you sure?" Like, and like I know that they don't mean harm in that they only can meet me at the level that they are, what they are familiar with or whatever. But like, yeah, like it really just instilled a lot of confidence in me and a lot of like just courage to like, okay, like I'm gonna see this thing through. I'm gonna leave home. I didn't even go too far to go away to college, but then like after college, you know, doing the thing like working in local news, that wasn't really a fit for me. Going back to corporate and then being like, hey, actually I'm gonna just move. I'm gonna move to Atlanta, and like not really asking permission. I think that's what
Mm.
it did. It gave me like that thing, like I don't have to ask for permission to live my life. And so that's what like being acknowledged like early did for me. It's like it gave me that courage to say, like, no, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do. And that's not to say that like even to this day I am still struggling with, not asking for permission to do things, or always like asking like, hey, do you think I should do this, or what should I do? And it's like, no, actually, I know what I need to do. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need like I don't need like that validation all the
Yeah.
time. And so again, it's like that pull push thing that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
going on. But um that's what being seen and acknowledged like does to me. Like even to this day, it just gives me the courage to live freely.
this, man. You are like, I can't wait until you get this book. We have to,
Thank you.
because like honestly, you have so much to say. So we are going to delve into a little bit of your writing. So there's this, this space where I think Black women excel as writers, and I have dubbed it intentional pen. And there's a medical definition of the word intentions, and it means to be a part of the healing process of a wound. Like I
Mm,
had no idea that
can
that's
hear that.
I know, child. I was
Whoa.
doing this. I know. I was doing this other podcast like forever ago, and I found that definition, and I was like, oh, so that's the only definition then, because that's it, right? We are always being intentional. You said at the beginning, I'm moving with intention. I choose, and because I want to heal, and we speak, and we don't even know we're speaking our own truth. But so I've dubbed what Black women, do when we write as having an intentional pen. And so I had the pleasure of going through your Substack, and I read the piece that you gave me, and this one's for the lovers. And I just think, wow, man, you are so aware of yourself. And so I don't know if you're like, I'm here, I'm comfortable, but you're honest and vulnerable and authentic. And that is beautiful. Like,
Thank you.
I love that for you. You spoke in that piece about, my notes are all over the place, Shanique. It's what it is. You spoke in that piece about witnessing abuse, and
Yes.
and then you spoke about the war team, similar situations at 17. Can you share a little bit about how writing that piece was cathartic for you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I'm gonna like try not to cry.
It's okay. Cry if you want to.
Um, but that piece was it was very cathartic for me because outside of like my close friends and like, people that I like feel confident in venting to and things like that, I've done it in my writing before, but not to that level. And I just really, one of the things coming out of the pandemic, because, like the pandemic was so tough for just so many of us, we lost people, things like that. But I think like within the pandemic, I lost the old version of myself. And that's a good thing. Like that was something like that was a positive to come out of that. And that piece and like really like being vocal about it, it just made me, it's like I don't care if one person read it. It was for me. And that's why I like started that love letter series. And, I'm definitely trying to keep it going. But like that was just for me. It was just for
Mm-hmm.
me to like put it out there, like, this is what I experienced. It wasn't right. However, that doesn't have to like define me or define like where I'm going. And, I don't have to live with this trauma in me. I can like let it out so that little me, like, younger me, and then 17-year-old me can have someone to be proud of. And so that's what that piece really did for me. It really just um, laid a foundation. And, I still haven't been able to like vocalize to my family some of the things that I went through. Um, I don't know if they've read it. If they have, no one said anything to me about it, but it's like building up that courage muscle to have
Mm-hmm.
that conversation that I know is like, I feel like that's like my final fighter, that I know I'm gonna have to have. And so that like, yeah, it was just a very like healing piece. It's like one of those like fever dreams where I kind of like zoned out when I wrote it. And then I just hit publish and I was like, okay, like here it is. But like hearing from friends and like saying like, oh my gosh, like you're so brave and this really helped me. Like that was really rewarding to me too, because I didn't do it for that. I actually did
Mm-hmm.
it very much for myself. It was a very selfish piece. But to know
Good.
that it can help others too,
Yeah.
that is cathartic in itself too.
That is the beauty of writing as a liberator. And I don't know that we know it, right? We don't even know it. It's
Yeah.
not because it's never really kind of the end goal when we're putting this kind of stuff out into the world. Like you said, it is a selfish endeavor, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it becomes this, you have no idea how much I needed to hear or read or see that. And so I think yeah, it was beautifully written. And when you grow up in a home that says if it happened here, it stays, that is ingrained. I don't know any brown person. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't I don't know brown and black folk who didn't grow up, especially in the South, that way.
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief, Virginia is still the South.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that because people try to rule us out. And, I love what you were saying there because, again, like, sisterhood is so important to me. And because I had friends turn sisters who, like, allow me to just be open and honest, I was like, oh, wait, like, I'm not the only person this happened to. Because it's like I grew up
Mm-mm.
thinking I was so isolated in that event or in those events. And I was like, wait. And that like has helped to heal me too. Because it's like, dang, like, I'm not the only one. I'm actually sad that others had to experience the same thing, but I grew up feeling so isolated as a kid
Yes.
because, again, like home was like this chaotic thing at times. But then at school, I was still like, I would come to school and like perform. It was like being like Hannah Montana. Like, so I would like pour myself into this perfectionism, straight A's, winning contests, all the things, dance class. I just kept really busy and I didn't realize until an adult in therapy that that was a coping mechanism.
Yep. Yeah. Look, all I'm doing is yeah, yeah, yeah. Check, check, check. Because you're looking at the older person who had these, yeah, same experience, right? Chaotic home life. I go to school, that's safe, right? That's my
Hmm.
safe place. So I'm perfect there. And I do mean perfect there,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I think that's such a common theme. And so, when we share these stories, share these truths of ourselves, then we are able to not only liberate our stories, but we liberate others. We give people permission to be open and vulnerable and honest. And I don't know if you recognize the strength that you have. I don't know if you recognize how much strength it takes to be vulnerable, to be honest, and to own it all. I think you said that in some part that I read that I am able to live with all the parts of myself. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that's what I'm talking about. Because to own it all, the light, the dark, the good, the bad. I hope nobody see that.
Yeah.
And you own it, like that's freedom, that's salvation, that's peace, right? So I love
Yes.
that for you. I love that for you.
Ella and her guest, Shanique Yates, a freelance journalist from the VA, will be back shortly. You want to come back for the second half of the Black Writer Therapy podcast, when Shanique shares how she lost her dream apartment and what she's since learned from that experience. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you feel it? That tug? The one whispering, it's time to finally tell your story. At Southern Momentum Publishing House, we know that tug well. It's the start of something bigger. Your voice, your truth, your power on the page. Whether it's been years in the making or just an idea waiting to blossom, we are here to help you take the leap. No excuses, no waiting, just momentum. Visit us today at somopubhouse.org and start your next chapter now.
We're back with your host and unlicensed therapist, Ella Shawn, and her guest, Shanique Yates.
by 2024 summer? Because you wrote about it. Girl.
Oh my gosh, this summer was like, like that thing where it's like living, like life is falling apart, but like living your best life at the same time. That's what I feel like it was. Like I feel like, and I know what exact piece you're talking about. And that was
Mm-hmm.
like my one of my debuts in Exo Nicole, which I used to read all the time before
Mm-hmm.
I was a journalist. So that was like a full circle moment. But yeah, like it was very I, for the first time, had to learn to ask for help and to
Mm-hmm.
allow people to show up for me and to be uncomfortable. And that was like very different. It was very, very different, but it was very healing. But like, I'm just very grateful, again, because it just also showed me like in my circle, like, wow, like I have really cultivated community. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have really like been able to find people who like show up for me, whether it's like letting me sleep on their couch or like stay in their home and cooking for me or just,
Mm-hmm.
being able to have conversations, watch TV. Like that is what this summer was. And at the same time, I
Mm-hmm.
had to like show up for work. Like I had to travel for work and, you know, um, that piece allowed me to kind of like be like reflective and
Mm-hmm.
like the irony in it all. And I shared it in the story, but I had did an interview and like I remember the first time I did like my first like kind of full length fast, if you will, which was
Mm-hmm.
right before I moved to Atlanta. And my best friend and I, like, we did a fast together. We actually just did one this year, and this is the first one I've done in like 5 years. And
Wow.
coming out of that has been so beautiful. Like, Monday was my first day, like, out, if you will. But we were talking about hearing from God, and she had said that she had a dream and like she heard his voice. And I'm like, dang, like, I'm in the Word, I'm watching sermons. How come I can't hear from God? Like, is it
Mm-hmm.
something wrong with me? And then I had like an aha moment, and I realized that God speaks to me through people. And I think that that's why a lot of my profession is speaking to people, so
Mm-hmm.
many different people on a daily from all walks of life. But I did an interview the day that I turned in the key to my apartment, and it was like my dream apartment. I was so happy to have it. But like living off of freelance writer income is hard. It's still difficult, and I'm still learning how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm actually still like staying with friends in
Mm-hmm.
between my travels, but I I learned I did an interview with this guy from he was a contestant on The Voice, I believe. And I had turned in my key. I stopped at Chick-fil-A. I think I have ADHD that's not diagnosed. But I stopped at Chick-fil-A. I ordered food and I left. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even get the food. Like
Wow.
I drove off without the food because again, like in my brain, it's worse when it's so much going on. It's like, okay, like I had to pack up, move out, turn in my key, and I turned in my key a little late because I was late a little bit moving out. So I drove off with the food. Went to like another Chick-fil-A that was closer to my friend's house, got the food, got here just in time to like open up the Zoom to get on the call. I didn't want to reschedule it because we had already rescheduled the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Before, like after our interview, he was like, do you mind if I like if we stop the recording and I like say something to you? God is like putting this on my heart. And I was like, Um, and then he was just like, I can see you like you're on somebody's couch and you feel like they're like there's like these rocks or like burdens on you. Like, I just want you to know
No.
that God sees you and it's gonna get better and like they're gonna fall away. And like he was like, God wants you to like dream again. And I was like, well, this whole time I thought I was still dreaming. I'm like doing the things, I'm doing the interviews, I'm traveling to places. And so that to me, like solidified that notion that I'm like, like, okay, God, you do speak to me. You just speak to me through people. And he didn't know me. Like he
Mm-hmm.
didn't know my situation. He didn't know anything about me. So that like put something in my back and like it just like kind of changed me. And it was a lot of like still highs and lows, but that was like another cathartic piece. And it was actually a love letter to my friends who have like shown up for me and like helped in this healing process.
Oh my gosh, when I
Yeah.
read that, I am not going to lie to you. I was just like, girl, get it together. It was late too. So I'm in bed.
Yeah.
My husband's like, are you okay? And I'm like, that was one of the most powerful things I've read in a long
Thank
time.
you. Oh, thank
I'm not,
you.
like, that was so powerful. And then to hear you tell it, like you're even pretty when you
Yeah.
cry, girl, you're blessed.
Thank you.
Anyway, but yeah, to hear you tell that story, I was hoping, I was like, right? I'm willing you to tell it because people need to hear that
Yeah.
because that is so powerful. And I wanted to share with you how I think in so many times we have this idea of what we want our life to be. We have this.
Yes.
This is my dream life. This is what I want. And
Yeah.
then we think we have it and we're like, this is it. Yeah. I did all the work. I have all the things. And then the bottom drops out. And then we really get a chance to see who we are, whose we are, and who really
Oh,
belongs to
yes.
us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then we really find out, wait, that wasn't even it. This thing, this path right here. And you look back like 5, 10 years, right, from the moment, right? So you're going to look back in 5 years, maybe 2 or 3 years with you, and you're going to say, oh, that's why. That's why I
Yeah.
had to not have that apartment. That's why I had to be nomadic for a while. That's why, because then it all comes into play. And so when I read that, and then I was like, oh, I get to talk to her. And I was just like, oh, something feels like very like you have to be mobile to get where you're going. You cannot be
Yes.
stagnant and you
Like,
can't be stationary because that was going to be albatross is what I feel like an albatross around your neck, keeping you where you are not necessarily meant to stay. So mobility is necessary for you right now.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm like really learning that. And again, it's not like comfortable because it doesn't look like what I was taught I was supposed to be. Like, oh, you're supposed to do this and like work the job and have this you know, and I'm just like, yeah, like that's just not my life. Like, and that's okay,
That
you
is so
know?
okay, so perfectly okay.
Yeah.
And I love that you're embracing it and all of it. Gosh, it was yeah, that was a beautiful piece. Like I'm definitely going to be
Thank you. And thank you so much for reading it and for telling me that, like, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, like it just goes out into the world. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody's gonna read it or who's gonna like receive it well. So it
yeah.
always like I'm always like blown away when I meet people and they're like, I watched this that you did, or like, I'm like, wow, like you really did. Like, that's
I
still
love
very
that.
like whoa to me.
Well, keep that, but don't get used to it because I promise you, yeah, things are happening. Things are happening. We're gonna move on to rapid fire because
Ooh,
you ready?
hey,
Don't think, just answer.
okay.
It's 5 questions and we're just gonna keep it moving. What's the most beautiful act of friendship you experienced during your couch surfing summer?
Just my friend literally holding me to cry one time. Yeah,
Wow, love that. What does it now mean for you to feel at home?
safety.
Girl, come with it. Come with it. I'm not supposed to be taking notes, but you better. Okay. What piece of advice would you give someone who's learning to let go and let life?
Do it, do it for yourself and no one else.
That's it. You were done. Do it.
Yeah, like just do it. Do it for yourself, no one else. Because
Do it.
we have
That's
to live
it.
this life. Like at the end of the
Uh,
day, we're all gonna like transition, and family sometimes transitions before you. So if you're living to appease them and they're no longer here, who are you gonna live for? So
wow.
yeah,
Do it. Do it for you. That's a hard lesson. Man, that's a hard. I'm
it
50 and
is.
I am still learning
Oh, and
that
see, and
lesson.
now is my time to be like, what? 50 where?
50 here, girl. I know. I'm fine as wine. I just can't help it. I can't look. No, no shame over here. Like, okay,
Wow.
just gotta take care of it. Um, okay, and then I have like this question. Sisterhood. You said you're so into sisterhood. You have chosen sisters, and I love the chosen sisters. So if sisterhood had a soundtrack, what would be the first song?
Oh my gosh, the first song would be, goodness, dang. Okay, that's a good one. I would have to say it would be, I'm like so blanking. You know what? I would say it would be like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, but maybe like, so yeah, I'm thinking a few things, but I would have to say probably like India Ari, a song from India Ari, and it's called, dang, I don't know if I want to do that one though. My gosh, this is so hard because so many songs. Okay, just say one, Shanique. It would be
Just say that.
Sisterhood, and a track would be Happy Feelings by Maze, by Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Girl.
Yeah.
Look, I have India Ari down here, right? And then you say happy feelings. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that a cover? You
No,
did.
yeah, I was thinking about India Ari, but I'm like blanking on the song, and I'm like, let me just go with my gut and say Happy Feelings by Frankie
I love
Beverly. Yeah.
I love that. I love that for you. Okay, I got one more question. Very easy. It's the best interview you've done in your
Mm,
freelance career.
I would have to say in my freelance career, the best interview that I have done with, maybe I would say Victoria Monet. I really enjoyed that because I felt similar to her story in the sense of like maybe like working in the background for a while and then like really owning and stepping into her moment. And I
Hmm.
felt really seen. Like we weren't even on camera, but I felt seen in our interview. Like
I
she
love that.
saw me. That was, yeah.
Very good. Look, I'm going to be honest with you because, I already told you I'm 50. So I saw where you worked with her and I'm like, I called my daughter, said, oh, yeah. And she's like giving me the look, right?
Yeah.
Look it up, right? So now, I'm becoming a Victoria Monet girl. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank
You're
you for introducing
welcome.
me. And it's time for us to play a game. You
All right.
ready? Okay. This is where I celebrate the audacity of Black women writers. And what we do here, I got cards and everything because I used to be a teacher.
I love that. Teaching never leaves you. I come from a family of teachers.
Yeah, now I told my children don't ever go into it. Okay. It doesn't pay well. It doesn't pay well. All right. So here we are. I have the word audacity, and then I have my cards with numbers on them, 1 through 10. What I need you to do first and foremost is pick a number, 1 through 10.
Three.
Okay, good. And then I need you to pick a letter out of the word audacity.
I.
Let's see. Can I find it? I love it. I love this. This is going to be fun. I hope you like making up stories.
Okay, I do.
Oh, good. because I don't know if you can see that. Your
Okay.
word is identity. And let's see, the audacity of game changers. And your word is identity, and your topic is identity and self discovery. You have to make
Mm.
up at least 2 to 3 minute story where this word is prominent and it's about identity and self discovery.
Okay. So there is a little girl. Her name is Sasha. She is playing in a field and she encounters a butterfly who can talk. She can hear this butterfly. And so the butterfly is asking her questions like, what's her name? They're developing a friendship. And one of the questions she asks is, what's it like to be a human? And so Sasha is getting her first chance at self discovery because she has to identify what a human is. And Sasha is 7, by the way. So Sasha says being a human is being able to play with my Barbie dolls, is being able to watch my favorite TV shows, um, eat my favorite foods, play with my favorite stuffed animals. And sometimes being a human means taking care of my little brother and sister. Then the butterfly, who we're just gonna name the butterfly Hazel. Hazel is like, how can I become a human? And Sasha is
Ooh,
like, I don't know. You have to get here. First, you have to find out who your mom and your dad are gonna be. You have to identify who your mom and dad are gonna be. So Hazel is like, I know who I want my mom and dad to be. I want my dad to be someone who is I want my dad to be Sterling K. Brown because I heard he's a good actor. He's good at playing fathers on television. And I want my mom to be Beyonce because she's beautiful and she's smart and she can sing. She's funny. And so, next thing you know, Hazel has to identify how she wants to come into the world. Is she going to be a boy or is it going to be a girl because Hazel is an insect? And so Sasha is like, well, being a girl for me is like being able to play dress up and all these things. But I like things that my little brother does as a boy, like playing rough or playing sports and just being a wild child. And so ultimately, Butterfly Hazel decides she's going to be a girl. That is going to be her identity. And soon she morphs into a little girl named Hazel, who's 7 and now sitting with Sasha. And they're playing and they take hands and leap into this field of sunflowers into a world of self discovery. The end. I'm like, came up with a fly. Hope it made sense.
Sasha, I love the butterfly Hazel. I love that Beyonce and Sterling K are her parents. And she actually morphed. I think that you captured a little girl's voice beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
You captured Sasha's, well, being a human means playing, eating, dressing up, sometimes taking care of my brother. Like all of that. That's what a little girl would say. So you did really well
Oh, thank
with
you.
that. Do you tell your little cousins stories?
Sometimes I do, and I play into their story. So at my last place, there was water in the front, and so when they came to visit, they thought that Ariel lived there because of the water, and then
Of
they had went to the
course.
aquarium in Georgia. So literally, they would call. They would be like, "How are the mermaids?" And I'd be like, "They're great.
They're
Like they're
great.
out there."
Because where else
You
would they
know?
be?
Okay, exactly. But yeah, like I love that. And I love, like, I don't get to do it as often, but when I got out of college, I would volunteer at my old, like, elementary school and I would read to the kids. And that was so fun. It was so fun.
Things. I think it's one of the best things in the world to just sit and make up a story. So good for you. You did well. You did really well. So I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to get all of this in. We have to wrap everything up. because I promise not to keep people longer than an hour. Um, oh gosh, Shanique, thank you. Like my heart is still very full, and I'm very excited to have had this chance to have you on my proverbial couch. What's next for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me here and just holding space for me to feel safe to freely share and, for acknowledging me and acknowledging my work. It means a lot to me. And so, what's next for me is I'm currently working actively. The first episode is up of a podcast. It's called Music Bites, and that's Bytes because it's a play on words because a byte, a BYTE is a core memory in computer terms. And so we all
Mhm.
have albums that are ingrained in our brain or define our childhood. So episode one is with, you know, my really good friend, like my besties, and they have a collective called Be Time and Unwind. And so our first album is The Writings on the Wall by Destiny's Child. Basically, with Music Bites, I want to restore the feeling, or I am restoring the feeling of VH1 Behind the Music, because watching that fueled a love for music for me. I have a love, I say, I mean, they go hand in hand, but I say if I wasn't a journalist, I would be like a historian, which I kind of get to do anyway.
Mhm.
But I love history and I love music, so I'm able to combine the two with
I
Music
love
Bites.
that.
And so I've recorded two more episodes that are going to be coming out here soon. And it's powered by Collective Dreams to Reality. So that's like one big thing. And then also, I'm really like I said, I really want to write a book about my life. However, to get my feet wet, I am working with my nana to help tell her story. And like, so we are, just in the planning process of me like writing a book, like writing her memoir. She comes from a sharecropper, which by the way, I have a documentary on my YouTube called Voices Unheard, and it's about my sharecropping legacy that I come from. And
Yeah.
my great grandpa, ironically named Moses, was a pioneer in the Black farmers movement. And so talking about her coming out of that and then being the first to integrate public schools in Dinwiddie County, but then also taking it a step further. And she became an English teacher. She was a vice principal before
Wow.
ultimately she retired as the director of secondary education in the county. So, I just want to help her tell
Wow.
her story through a book. So that's something that I really want to get the ball rolling on this year. And then just continuing to tell stories that inspire, that inform, uplift, and inspire. That
Oh,
is what's next for me.
girl, that's a lot. That is so much. And so you're on LinkedIn? Are you on any other social media platform?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. My Instagram and my X handle are as told by Sly. That's SLY, like Sly in the Family Stone. And on that's Twitter, Facebook, it's Shanique Liz Yates, LinkedIn, same thing. And then YouTube, same thing, as told by Sly is the handle. Or you could just type
Okay.
in my name, Shanique Liz Yates, and that's where you can
Oh,
find.
very good. I want to say thank you again. I'm going to put everything in our show notes. You have been awesome. I am so proud of you. I am so
Thank
proud
you.
of the work you're doing, and I'm proud of the work that you're going to do. And so I'm just going to be like keeping my eye on you. I hope that we can stay in touch
I would love
because,
that.
like, I think you're a dope young lady. Like, and it's really nice to meet dope young women.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I received that. And thank you again for just having me on your couch and just reaching out to me. It really means a lot. Thank you. This was healing. This was a great way to start my hump day. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Black Writer Therapy, where we amplify and celebrate the voices of unapologetic Black women writers. We're proud to be part of the Alive Podcast Network. Be sure to tap into the only Black woman owned podcast network with its very own proprietary platform and app. When you download the Tap In app, you gain access to nearly 100 Black creative voices. To support Black Writer Therapy, subscribe and choose me as your favorite podcast host. 50% of your subscription fee goes directly to this show and allows me to continue to bring you quality content like this. Until next time, remember, be kindest to yourself first, always, and in all ways. I am Ella Shawn, your host for Black Writer Therapy Podcast.